Good morning, I'm Gretchen Ho. We're coming to you on this Monday, on the 24th of November, bringing you Morning Matters because your mornings matter. Let's get to the stories that matter today. President Bongbong Marcos has released a latest report on the arrests tied to anomalous flood control projects. 7 individuals are currently being held by authorities, with 2 more persons anticipated to turn themselves in. And his stern advice to those still at large, it's better if they surrender now. Senator Ping Lacson rejected and ignored offers to join a military junta plotting to remove President Bongbong Marcos. Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Claire Castro welcomed Lacson's refusal, stating that any military-backed transition council is unconstitutional. And classes are suspended today, November 24, in multiple areas across the country. This action was taken because of Tropical Depression Verbena and the presence of a shear line. Welcome to our program, Morning Matters, where we talk about the issues you need to know for the rest of your day. Now, first on the agenda, President Bongbong Marcos gave an update this morning that 7 individuals with outstanding arrest warrants linked to the flood control controversy are now in custody of authorities. Meanwhile, law enforcers attempted to serve an arrest warrant on former Ako Bicol Party List Representative Zaldy Co over the weekend, but were unable to locate him. More in this report.
7 individuals with outstanding arrest warrants linked to the flood control anomaly are now in the custody of authorities. President Bongbong Marcos says 2 more suspects are preparing to surrender, while 7 others remain at large, including former Congressman Zaldy Co.
Sa 3 warrant at 16 na pangalan, 7 na ang hawak ng ating otoridad. 2 susuko na. 7 ang mananatiling at large, at kasama na dyan si Zaldy Co. Sa lahat ng natitirang akusado, ang aking payo sa inyo ay sumuko na kayo. Huwag nyo nang antayin na habul-habulin pa kayo. Mas maganda para sa sitwasyon ninyo na sumuko na kayo para maganda ang inyong pagsagot sa mga aligasyon na dinala kontra sa inyo.
Meanwhile, in a separate operation, agents from the NBI Technical Intelligence Division entered this house in Quezon City. This is where DPWH Mimaropa engineer Dennis Abagon was found hiding. One of the individuals implicated in the 289 million peso road dike ghost project in Nauhan, Oriental Mindoro. Other NBI operatives then conducted a thorough search of their residence. A man and a woman who were with Abagon were also taken into custody. Authorities say several mobile phones and SIM cards believed to have been used as burner devices. According to NBI officer in charge Attorney Angelito Magno, the agents first went to Abagon's listed address in Cavite to serve the Sandigan Bayan arrest warrant for malversation, but he was not there. Abagon's legal counsel, Attorney Raymond Tansip, said his client will undergo a medical examination before the process moves forward.
Isusurrender sila sa Sandigan ba? Yung process magtutuloy-tuloy.
All 3 individuals were brought to the NBI office in Pasay City. Abagon's companion may face charges of obstruction of justice. Recall that on Wednesday, the graft and malversation cases involving the Mindoro Ghost projects were raffled off to the appropriate courts, including charges against former Congressman Zaldy Co and several officials of DPWH Mimaropa and SunWest Corporation. The Ombudsman earlier recommended no bail for the malversation charge, noting that the amount involved exceeds 8 million pesos.
And joining us this morning for their camp's response, we have Attorney Rui Rondain, legal counsel of former Ako Bicol Representative Zaldy Co. Magandang umaga po sa inyo, Attorney.
Magandang umaga, Gretchen. How are you today?
Okay. There have been calls for Congressman Zaldy Co to surrender, one coming no less from the President himself early this morning. and I quote, no, sabi po niya, mas maganda para sa sitwasyon po ninyo na sumuko na kayo para maganda ang inyong pagsagot sa mga aligasyon na dinala kontra sa inyo. So what is Zaldy Co's camp's response to this?
Meron pa kaming mga legal remedies na available to us, no? Like yung moving to quash the warrant of arrest at saka yung dismissal ng case. Kasi nga, as we've maintained consistently, this case should not have been filed. These cases should not have been filed. So allow us to take our legal remedies before we get to that, before we cross that bridge.
Oh, and what will be the argument for that, the moving to quash the charges?
Yung lack of probable cause. I've always stated that based on the evidence that I've seen and based on the press releases of the Office of the Ombudsman, talagang there's absolutely no evidence to support this indictment. So, I can't talk about the merits of the case since it's already pending with the Sandigan Bayan, but hintayin na lang natin. Let's wait for the motion that we will file.
And you are talking specifically about the Nauhan Oriental Mindoro Flood Control Project when you
Yes.
say there's lack of probable cause.
Yes.
Oh, kasi iba pa po yung mga pag-amin.
But we're concentrating on that.
Oo, hindi po ba may pag-amin na rin po na ginawa si Congressman dun po sa kanya mga video?
Wala. If you analyze his statements very carefully, no, walang admission doon except na dumaan sa kanya. So that is not a crime. Or at least it's not the crime that he is charged with. But again, Gretchen, we have to be very careful. No, I really can't talk about the merits of the case anymore.
Okay. Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla says they are already asking the Interpol to issue a red notice versus Zaldy Co. What is your next step on this? Almost all the countries are members of the Interpol.
Again, I can't telegraph my punches, not my style. Sorry. I'll let you know in due course.
Okay, but has apart from the legal remedies that you're already pursuing, no, meron po bang interest on the part of the congressman to, or is he at least thinking of surrendering?
Sure, that's always an option. Ang problem lang naman na kailangan i-address ng gobyerno is yung safety niya, because that's always been a great concern, no, that his safety is compromised. So if those concerns are addressed, then I see no reason why he can't or shouldn't agree to surrender.
Okay,
He's not afraid of facing the cases. He's afraid of getting killed.
But if what would require for him to at least feel safe? Ano po bang mga condition? Has he laid that down? Meron po ba siyang, I mean, he has indicated interest in serving house arrest, to which several authorities have already said no way, no? Kasama na dyan si Congressman Toby Chanco. But for him to feel safe, meron po bang condition yun?
No. In the first place, Gretchen, that was a response I gave to Pinky Webb in response to a hypothetical question. Hindi niya condition yun. Because that's a legal remedy that he can request, that he can move the court for. So, sinagot ko na rin yung statement ni Congressman Tiangco na it's not up to him and it's not up to public to decide. It's not up to the public to decide whether or not he will be granted bail or house arrest. The cases have been filed before the courts, and it's the courts that decide, not public opinion. It's certainly not a sitting congressman.
Although he can argue indefinitely that his life is in danger, so what would it take for him to come home?
Like I said, that would be an attractive option for me, if he were granted house arrest or if he were granted bail. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. No, again, I haven't moved for anything. Again, I must emphasize that if these safety concerns are addressed, I would be the first one to recommend that he come home.
Because
he hasn't asked for anything. Let's be clear. He hasn't asked for anything. Those were my statements, and they are not conditions. Because I don't want the Sandigan Bayan to get the wrong impression.
But how can the safety issue be addressed?
That's what I'm saying. If he had control over his environment, if he was under house arrest, or if he were granted bail, then he wouldn't be in jail with potential killers surrounding him 24 hours a day.
Okay, because the DLG secretary has said that he only has until Monday to surrender. Otherwise, ay sila po ay hahanapin na. At kung sila po ay magtago, we will consider them fugitives of justice.
Again, it's not to him to decide who is and who isn't a fugitive. So, okay lang yan. Kung meron siyang statement na yan. Not legally binding as far as I'm concerned.
Now, the DFA, however, is also still waiting for a court order to cancel his passport. Is he still using his Philippine passport to go around?
I would imagine that he does not have any other passport, and I don't know if he's actually going around. And again, that's one of the remedies that we're thinking of availing on. They do move to cancel his passport. We're going to resist that because there are no grounds to cancel his passport.
Okay, I've spoken with several camps already regarding the statements of Zaldy Co. And they all say, bakit hindi niya patotohanan ito by actually appearing before authorities and conducting his testimony under oath? Because for now, mga social media videos lamang ito.
Nasagot ko na rin yan. Na he will do that in due course. He's not offering these revelations as part of as a judicial declaration. So we'll get there in due time. Hindi naman kailangan umuwi siya dito to swear to those statements. Ano? He can do it wherever the rules of court allows. So let's not get ahead of ourselves.
But,
Wala pa naman, hindi naman judicial declarations ang ginagawa.
And what is his intention with these videos?
Eventually, the videos will find their way to court. And in fact, I've also said that eventually he will reduce everything into writing under oath to a deposition or whatever mode that's allowed by the Supreme Court, by the rules of court.
Oh, but do you confirm that that's actually him in the video? Because there are have been rumors swirling that this is AI generated. So from you, siya po talaga yon.
Siya yun. I asked him squared. Hindi yan.
Okay. Am I correct in my understanding that the congressman is applying for state witness status?
No. Again, that was a response to a hypothetical question. Sabi, would he be open? I said, sure. He'd be open, but it's not something that we have discussed just yet.
But are you thinking along those lines? Since sabi niyo po ay siya po ay dinaanan lamang ng pera and there's lack of probable cause to find him guilty of these charges.
Yes, I've toyed with the idea. We haven't discussed it. I've toyed with the idea, but I haven't made a decision either on whether or not to go that route.
Why? Why the hesitation?
Because I have other more efficacious remedies. If I can get the cases dismissed, why would he have to testify? See, we're bordering on sub judice. So.
Okay. Pero sabi po ni Congressman Zaldy Co, meron daw po siyang resibo, ebidensya. Medyo mabibigat po yung kanyang mga inilapag dun sa video, accusing the president of receiving 25% in SOP. What kind of evidence might he have to substantiate these accusations?
He has receipts. I've seen them actually. He has receipts proving that the money was in fact received. By whom, when, where, how? Let's wait for him to disclose that. I don't want to testify for him.
Will
you
they
should not testify for the witness.
Will he be able to pin down the president directly or indirectly?
Let's wait for him. Make that thing.
Inaantay po ng lahat po kasi yan, ano? Okay, going now to other details of his video. In his video statements, meron po dun mga letrato ng mga bagahe. Pero paano po natin malalaman kung ano po yung laman ng mga bagaheng yun? Kasi, I mean, it's so easy to take photos of pieces of luggage, right?
Yes, you're already thinking like a lawyer. That's where you link the receipts with the photographs.
And speaking of linking, some of the timelines of the photos posted are curious because yung iba po ay were photos taken before the BICAM, no? Because the
Correct.
congressman was talking about the 2025 budget. How does he explain then the other photos that were as early as January 2024?
That's correct. There is no linkage between the photographs and the 100 billion insertion in the 2025 budget. Yung deliveries were for 2024 and earlier years, I understand. So mali lang yung correlation. That's all. The monies that's been delivered had nothing to do with the 2025 because yung 2025 yung 100 billion hindi siya naman nang nag-deliver nun. He never said that he delivered. He just asked the DPWH people, magkano bang SOP dyan sa 100 billion? And he was told not 25%, so 25 billion. As far as I can remember, he did not deliver that 25 billion.
He did not.
We're talking about other deliveries.
So in the past, ibig sabihin, kasi sinabi niyo po sa aming sister program, The Big Story, nung tinanong po kayo, that tinanong nga niya kung magkano yung SOP ng presidente for the 2025 insertions.
Yes.
To which your client was given the figure 25%. In that case, even before that, paano po yun? I mean, ano pong porsyento din yung nasa photos kung hindi po niya dineliver yung for 2025?
Hindi ko pa alam. Again, let's wait for him to to tell us kung anong porsyento yung previous deliveries yung mga nasa photos. Basta hindi yun yung 2025 na 100 billion. That's clear. Kasi kinabahan din ako when I heard, I think it was Senator Lacson said na hindi daw na si Yusek Bernardo raw ang nag-deliver nung not even 25, 50 billion daw. So I reviewed the tapes and I asked him, sabi niya, I never said that I delivered 25 billion. Tinanong niya sa mga DPWH people, 25%. So he assumed na, so therefore they should have received 25% of 25 billion. The deliveries in the photos, hindi yun connected sa 100 billion in 2025. So yun yung previous deliveries for previous, I don't know, collections, let's call it that. Let's wait for him to explain that. I can tell you now categorically, hindi yun 2025 na 100 billion.
But help us understand, Attorney, why would Congressman Zaldy Co allow himself to become the funnel for this amount of money if he did not receive anything from the budget insertions, which was his claim in his video? Parang ang hirap naman pong paniwalaan.
Nasagot ko na rin yan. No? He was overwhelmed. Napag-utusan siya, natangay siya, against his better judgment, sinabi niya yan. But let me try to explain lang yung mahirap paniwalaan, because yung mahirap paniwalaan na sinasabi ng publiko, that's the world of public opinion. I don't live in that world where conclusions are made that's not based on complete evidence, not based on admissible evidence. I live in a different world. Where facts are established by evidence and conclusions are made by a judge after receiving all the evidence. I don't have the luxury to indulge in what the public is saying. When I'm working a case, I have to concentrate on what the law allows. I don't mean to diminish. No, I don't get me wrong. I don't mean to diminish yung value of public opinion. But when I'm working a case, it's noise as far as I'm concerned.
But
nasabi ko na rin that we agreed on a democratic system, and the judicial system that we also agreed to, the Constitution, requires that evidence be produced in a court of law under the rules of court and let the judge decide whether or not we believe that judgment. That's on us. We have to trust the judicial process. Yan yung sistema natin. So mahirap piniwalaan, sorry na lang, hintayin nyo na lang kung yung ebidensya.
Although we're trying to connect the dots here as to why things happened the way they did, right? So you can expect these questions also from the public. And also another question is, what would you have to say to talk about the president getting mad at the House Speaker and also Congressman Zaldy Co, who was House Appropriations Chair back then, on insertions in the budget. Parang ganun po yung sinabi po ni Congressman Toby Chanco na na-witness niya po yung presidente na nagalit sa kanila dahil hindi niya na ma-recognize itong budget na ito. Yun po yung hindi nagtutugma doon sa salaysay po niya at yung circumstantial evidence.
Sorry, Gretchen. My recollection is that Congressman Tiangco said that there was a lunch on a Sunday and the president called him and the former speaker to a private study. Tatlo lang sila. Wala doon si Zaldy Co. So I cannot comment on what happened in that room because I have no personal knowledge and my client certainly has no personal knowledge. So anything that he would have told me, which he hasn't, anything he would have told me would have been valid. But again, let's let the story unfold. He did say naman na mayroon pang susunod, diba, after part 3. So maybe he'll explain it then.
Okay. So going back to your legal remedies, you're pursuing the motion to quash the charges. What is when do you expect the response to this motion?
The response, they would have 5 days to respond, but I don't know when I'm filing it just yet. Or rather, I don't want to disclose when I'm filing it. Might be today, might be tomorrow.
So hindi niyo pa po na-file. Oo. Pero nakausap niyo po si Congressman recently?
No, regularly. Yes.
Okay. All right. So the option to surrender is on the table.
Always. So long as his safety concerns are addressed.
But not today.
Not today. I don't think so. Realistically, not today.
Okay, so he will be considered a fugitive of justice by today. Okay, maraming salamat po for your time.
Not my declaration. But, okay.
Thank you for joining us this morning and giving us the response of the camp of Congressman Zaldy Co. We have Attorney Rui Rondain. And coming right up, due to the threat of heavy rain from tropical depression Verbena, class suspensions are in effect today in several areas. We'll get updates from Pag-asa when Morning Matters returns. Keep it here. Good morning, I'm Gretchen Ho, and you're watching Morning Matters. Some areas have suspended classes today, November 24, due to expected heavy rainfall from Tropical Depression Verbena. In Luzon, class suspensions were declared in parts of the Bicol region, including Albay, Camarines Sur, and Sorsogon. Across the Visayas, Bohol, Cebu Province, Cebu City, Lapu-Lapu City, and Mandawi City suspended face-to-face classes. Negros Occidental and Bacolod City issued suspensions as well, with multiple towns and cities halting classes in all levels. In Mindanao, Gingoog City in Misamis Oriental suspended face-to-face classes as a precaution. The low-pressure area east of Mindanao has developed into Tropical Depression Verbena. Let's get more updates on this from Pag-asa Weather Specialist Charmaine Varilla. Magandang umaga sa iyo.
Yes, magandang umaga po sa ating lahat, Ma'am Gretchen.
Una-una ho, nasa po ba ang Tropical Depression Verbena?
Yes po, no. Estimated po itong si Tropical Depression Verbena as of kaninang madaling araw na at around 330 kilometers east ng Surigao City, Surigao del Norte.
Kailan po ito inaasahan na magla-landfall?
So, ina-expect nga po natin, based sa bilis niya na tinatakbo ngayon na around 30 kph, ay maaari na nga itong mag-landfall or close approach dito sa may northeastern part ng Mindanao. So, probably dito yan sa area ng Dinagat Islands. Mamayang hapon na po or noon time.
And then, ano po yung mga lugar na uulanin po ngayong araw?
So, for today, ang nakita po natin, malaking bahagi ng Visayas ay merong mga malalakas na mga pagulan, and especially nga dito sa may southern Leyte, Leyte, maging dito sa may Samar at Eastern Samar, yan po yung makararanas ng 100 to 200 millimeter. And dito rin po sa may Dinagat Islands kung saan dito probably dadaan itong si Bagyong Verbena, maging sa may Surigao del Norte at Surigao del Sur. Diyan po ngayon yung pinakamalalakas ngayong araw. And due to shear line naman, maaaring makaranas din ng mga malalakas na mga pag-ulan starting dito sa Cagayan, Isabela, Aurora, Quezon at buong Bicol region dahil nga po yan sa shear line. And ina-expect natin na by tomorrow na kung saan dadaan na nga ito sa kapuluan ng Visayas, ay malaking bahagi na ng Visayas or buong bahagi na nga ng Visayas ang merong mga significant or malalakas na mga pag-ulan. And continuous pa rin nga yung magiging impact ng shear line at maaari ding patuloy pa yung dumami at maging dito sa ibang bahagi ng Cordillera, especially sa may Apayo at Kalinga, makaranas na ng mga malalakas na mga pag-ulan. And by Miyerkules, kung saan nakikita na nga natin na itong si Bagyong Verbena ay nandito na sa may area ng northern or dito na sa may area ng northern Palawan, mas lalakas pa nga yung shear line at maaaring yung mga paulan dito sa may Cagayan, Isabela at Aurora, mas lumakas pa at umabot na nga ng 100 to 200 millimeters. Although dito sa may Visayas, dahil nga papalayo na dito yung Verbena by Miyerkules, ay mababawasan na yung mga paulan at more on dito na lang sa may Western Visayas, titingnan natin. So yun po yung scenario na nakikita natin sa mga pag-ulan.
Okay. Gaano kalakas itong tropical depression Verbena? Magiging bagyo ba ito? At kung ikukumpara sa iba, gaano kadaming ulan ang dala niya?
So ngayon po kaninang madaling araw ay declared na po siya as tropical depression. Tapos kung titingnan po natin ay dadaan siya dito sa kapuluan ng Visayas as tropical depression category. However, pagdating niya dito sa West Philippine Sea ng Miyerkules, dito po siya mas tuluyang lalakas pa at maaaring ang umabot ng tropical storm up to severe tropical storm hanggang sa makalabas ng ating PAR. At nakikita din po natin na magtutuloy-tuloy yung mga paulan kahit makalabas pa to ng ating PAR hanggang Biyernes dahil mayroon pang maabot ng trough nito itong bahagi nga ng Palawan and some parts ng Western Visayas.
Okay. Help us understand din, Charmaine, paano inaapektuhan yung shear line? Meron bang interaction yung dalawang weather system na yan?
Yes po, So, dahil nga dito sa may, kumbaga umiikot kasi itong hangin ni Verbena, So, yung parang paikot na hangin niya galing southeastern part. Tapos, yung northeast monsoon, nagbabanggaan po yan. Yan yung nakaka-form ng shear line. Kaya, the more na mas tatahak po siya or mas move inland siya, the more na ma-enhance yung shear line, which is nakikita na nga natin, ay mas maraming mga paulan yung ibibigay dito especially nga dito sa may eastern parts ng Luzon, Cagayan, and Isabela.
Dito naman po sa Metro Manila, magiging maulan po ba ngayong araw at hanggang kailan?
So, sa nakikita po natin for Metro Manila ay magiging maulan pa rin ngayong araw. However, yung pinaka-malalakas na mga pag-ulan ay Miyerkules na po natin nakikita kapag nandito na sa may parteng Palawan itong si Verbena. Pagkalabas po nito ng PAR ay maaaring mabawasan na yung mga paulan sa malaking bahagi ng Luzon and expect na dun lang po tayo makararanas ng mga pagganda ng panahon dito sa malaking bahagi ng Luzon.
Okay, ano po ang payo po ninyo sa ating mga kababayan, lalo na sa mga nasa Visayas at Mindanao?
Yes po, kung titingnan nga po natin, itong dadaanan possibly ni Bagyong Verbena ay medyo kahalintulad ng dinaanan nitong si Bagyong Tino. So, kung na-experience po natin yung mga paulan ni Bagyong Tino, ay mag-ingat po tayo dahil much likely ay medyo malapit-lapit yung mga pag-ulan or yung mga inulan na areas sa dinaanan ni Tino. Although sa nakikita naman natin, slightly mas mababa yung mga paulan nitong si Verbena compared kay Tino, pero dahil andyan pa rin nga yung uncertainty natin, much more na mas maganda na i-treat na natin itong possibly na mga paulan niya as extreme case So, good naman po sa ating, or very good naman po sa ating mga local government units kasi kahit hindi pa po natin declare dito as low pressure area or as bagyo, ay nag-conduct na rin po sila ng mga initial PIDRA as well as yung mga kababayan po kasi natin na yung iba nasa evacuation center ay hindi na, yung iba po ay hindi pa lumikas doon. So, nanatili pa rin. Oo. So, sa ngayon ay sana po ay patuloy na bumaba yung magiging casualty nitong or tuluyan na walang maging casualty itong si Bagyong Verbena, no? Kaya sa mga kababayan po natin dyan sa Visayas ay ipagpatuloy po natin yung pag-iingat sa mga pagbaha at pagguho ng lupa na maaaring dalhin itong si Verbena, and areas under wind signal, mag-ingat din po sa peligrong dala ng malalakas na hangin, and as well as yung mga kababayan po natin na hindi pa nag-evacuate, i-consider na din po natin dahil kapag approach yung bagyo, and then po yung kumbaga yung panganib din na dala ng storm surge. So yun po.
So meron po panganib na magkakaroon ng storm surge?
Yes po, hindi po natin naalis. So, titingnan po natin kung meron po mga i-issue. Possibly naman po, by today ay meron tayong mga updates dyan. And existing pa rin naman po yung ating gale warning. So, dahil nga sa pa-approach na itong si Bagyong Verbena, maaaring magka-gale warning po tayo sa ibang bahagi pa po ng ating bansa, malagdag, especially nga dito sa Visayas and some parts sa Mindanao.
Okay. Maraming salamat sa iyong update pagdating sa panahon ngayong araw na ito. We are watching a tropical depression, Verbena, about to make landfall throughout the day in the Nagat Islands, as Charmaine Barilla has mentioned, and we'll watch that throughout the rest of the week along with the shear line. Again, thank you for your time today here on Morning Matters. Meanwhile, Senator Ping Lacson reveals he received and ignored offers to join a so-called civil-military junta allegedly pushed by retired military personnel to remove President Marcos. In a radio interview, Lacson said he brushed off the proposal, noting that political crises often trigger wild ideas, especially when corruption is widespread. Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Claire Castro welcomed Lacson's firm rejection of the idea, and Castro said any attempt to form a military-backed transition council violates the Constitution and is driven not by national interest, but by the vested interests of those seeking to oust the president. Meanwhile, immigration authorities are on high alert for former Ako Bicol Party List Representative Zaldy Co and 15 co-accused. Their names are in the Bureau of Immigration's derogatory database, allowing officers to flag and respond if they try to leave or enter the Philippines. Co and 3 others who were ordered arrested by the Sandigan Bayan are currently abroad. Co departed for Singapore on August 6, while the others traveled to Qatar, Australia, and the United Arab Emirates. The BI stressed that it remains fully coordinated with law enforcement to ensure the warrants are carried out once these individuals present themselves at the country's ports. Authorities are also searching for Cassandra Lee Ong, the representative of the raided Pogo Hub Lucky South 99. The PAO confirms Ong had to be freed because Congress's contempt order expired with the previous term. They last tracked her in Japan early this year before she left the country at a time when there was no hold or departure order against her.
Nung natapos na po yung lifespan nung 19th Congress, hindi ho po pwedeng manatiling nakakulong ang isang tao sapagkat yung power at buhay noong Kongreso na nagbigay sa kanya ng contempt order and commitment order ay patay na.
An arrest warrant for qualified human trafficking was issued only in May 2025. Ong is on an immigration lookout bulletin, but that does not prevent travel. PAOK admits locating her has been difficult and says multiple agencies will work together to find her.
Sila po ang huling may hawak kay Catherine Cassandra Lee Ong. So, we have to check nung nagkaroon ng release order si Cassie Lee Ong, kanino nila turn over, and so on and so forth.
In other news, global progress in chronic obstructive Pulmonary disease management is evident in the new 2025 index from the Copenhagen Institute for Future Studies. However, the report highlights critical areas that remain in need of urgent intervention. Jovi Francisco with the report.
On World COPD Day, the Copenhagen Institute for Future Studies, through its Respiratory Health Initiative, released the 2025 Chronic Obstructive Pulmonary Disease Index. Data that show how the world is tackling the disease. Compared to the 2024 index, the new findings confirm stability in COPD care in many territories, but also highlights the fact that a lot more action needs to be done.
Let us make a shared commitment to turn words into action and awareness into oxygen for Malaysia, for Asia, and for the world.
Last week in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Jose Luis Castro, the World Health Organization's special envoy for chronic respiratory diseases, told journalists that COPD remains one of the most underestimated global health threats. COPD kills over 3 million people each year and affects almost 400 million.
You can talk about deaths, you can talk about numbers, but it's also costing the economy, the global economy. It's a huge drain. So when you talk about the economic picture of COPD, 2 trillion USD is the cost of NCDs to the global economy, 2 trillion. And it's estimated that COPD accounts for nearly 150 billion of that. So it's a huge drain.
COPD is a lung disease that causes restricted airflow and breathing problems. Though manageable, COPD is incurable, hence the need for early detection. It affects lung function progressively in an irreversible manner, causing symptoms such as chronic cough, phlegm, difficulty in breathing, wheezing, and tiredness. Experts say COPD often receives clinical attention only when it becomes life-threatening in patients, especially those with multiple non-communicable diseases. COPD is a concern in Southeast Asia, where smoking is rampant and air pollution is among the world's worst. In the Philippines, it remains among the top 10 leading causes of death among Filipinos, with majority of cases due to smoking. Misdiagnosis also often happen in the Philippines because there is a lack of awareness about COPD. Neighboring countries can learn a lot from Malaysia and how it is working to improve COPD care. From aggressive info campaigns, reforms in health insurance coverage, and even state-of-the-art testing that includes artificial intelligence, like what was offered in this lung event organized just outside Kuala Lumpur.
Moving forward, actually, Malaysia is committed to continue to strengthen this lung health initiative. Of course, we want to improve the equitable access to care, especially the low-income population. So that's our main focus. Advancing global collaborative research, working together with WHO, and we also champion the ASEAN.
Proving that a shift towards proactive strategies is essential in dealing with COPD. Reporting from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Jovi Francisco, we are One News.
And stay tuned, Morning Matters will be back after a quick break. Keep it here. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. The Independent Commission for Infrastructure will live stream all of its hearings on YouTube and Facebook starting this week. ICI Executive Director Brian Osaka said that live streaming will be the default for all proceedings unless someone requests a closed-door session. Media outlets must apply for broadcast access and cover all proceedings. Partial coverage is prohibited and violations may result in suspension, revocation of access, or legal sanctions. The ICI, created through an executive order on September 11, has already produced 5 reports recommending criminal, civil, or administrative charges based on its investigations into various infrastructure projects. Vice President Sara Duterte breaks her silence on a range of issues, including allegations raised against President Bongbong Marcos and the ICC's upcoming ruling on her father's request for interim release. Here's the report.
Wait lang, dali Una-una sa ako kung tabagon ko na or dili kay magkagubot na po ng Pilipinas.
In an exclusive interview with News 5, Vice President Sara Duterte could only laugh when asked about Senator Amy Marcos' latest remarks. Directed not only at President Bongbong Marcos but also at First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos and House Majority Leader Sandro Marcos during last week's Iglesia ni Cristo rally. Recall that Senator Amy publicly claimed that the president had been using illegal drugs, allegation she said were known to their own family and even members of the presidential security group.
Batid ko na nagda-drug siya! Nalaman ko at ng pamilya, nalaman ng pamilya, seryoso ito. Minsan, kami ng Presidential Guard at Metro Gompa ang naglilinis tuwing nagpa-party po sila.
When asked if she believed the senator's accusation, VP Sara said,
Lahat ng mga nakasama nila sa mga parties nila nagsasabi na gumagamit sila ng droga.
She then renewed her challenge for President Marcos to undergo a drug test.
Kung maalala nyo sa mga events namin noon sa iba't ibang lugar sa mundo, lagi ko sinasabi na kapag president ka or vice president ka or any government official for that matter, hindi ka pwedeng humindi kapag sinasabihan ka na magpa-drug test ka, magpa-neuropsychiatric exam ka, or any other exam na mag-relate sa competency mo to lead.
The palace had earlier insisted the president already tested negative for illegal drugs in 2021.
Uulit-ulitin natin, hindi po tayo magpapadala kung ano ang sinasabi ng mga maiingay. Matagal na po itong naresolba. Uulit-ulitin ko paulit-ulit. Ang Pangulo po ay malinis at ang Pangulo po ay hindi magpapadala sa anumang pag-uudyok.
Meanwhile, the Vice President declined to answer whether she is ready to take over should President Marcos be unseated. VP Sara has repeatedly denied involvement in any supposed destabilization efforts against the Marcos administration. But the palace has already asked the Armed Forces of the Philippines to investigate reports surrounding the matter.
Yan ang hindi ko muna sasagutin kasi magkakagulo tayo niyan.
VP Sara also commented on the administration's promise to prosecute those involved in the massive flood control corruption scandal.
Sa lahat ng mga sinasabi ng administrasyon na kanilang kakasuhan at ikukulong ay to see is to believe. So, makikita natin ang sinseridad nila kung totoo nga merong managot dyan.
The palace has yet to respond to these remarks. The Vice President is also hopeful that the International Criminal Court's pre-trial chamber will grant the request of former President Rodrigo Duterte's defense team for his interim release.
We hope to hear good news for the public hearing on his on the appeal for his interim release on November 28th. But if not, we will continue to the family will continue to support him in his stay in The Hague in the Netherlands, and of course continue to work with the defense team with regard to his legal case.
For News 5, I'm Bril Montalvo. We are One News.
The Philippine Anti-Organized Crime Commission confirmed that the government has requested an Interpol red notice for former presidential spokesperson Harry Roque over an alleged human trafficking case. PAOK spokesperson Winston Castro said the request was filed through the Philippine Center on Transnational Crime. He added that issuing a red notice usually takes 2 to 3 months. An Interpol red notice is a request to law enforcement agencies in member countries to locate and arrest a person pending extradition, surrender, or other legal action. Don't go away, we got more matters to discuss after a quick break. Keep it here in One News. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here in One News. The NCRPO will be on full alert starting November 28 ahead of the trillion peso March protest on November 30. Spokesperson Police Major Hazel Asilo says this ensures all Metro Manila police are accounted for and ready for rapid deployment. Teams will handle crowd control, negotiation, monitoring, and arrest with CCTV live monitoring activated. A permit has been issued for a rally at the EDSA People Power Monument, but Mendiola Street remains off limits to protests. Organizers say the November 30 mobilization aims to demand stronger action against alleged corruption in flood control projects. In sports, the race for the semi-final spots in the UAAP men's basketball tournament is heating up. Top seed NU Bulldogs faced off against the UST Growling Tigers in a much-anticipated matchup. NU took an early lead and held a slim 38-37 advantage at halftime. In the third quarter, UST's Jello Crisostomo and Amiel Acido sparked a turnaround, giving Tigers the momentum. NU briefly cut the lead to 8 points, but UST stayed in control and won the game 80-71. The victory secures UST a spot in the Final Four. Meanwhile, Ateneo kept its own Final Four hopes alive by defeating Adamson 72-61, led by Dom Escobar with 14 points and 5 rebounds, and Kimani Ladi contributing 13 points. And that wraps up today's episode of Morning Matters. We hope we've given you the right start to your Monday morning. Let's go ahead and make the day and the week matter. My name is Gretchen Ho. Kapatid, we are One News, all sides, all the time.